Everything you need to know about Apple's dark side, the truth they don't want you to hear. Hey, so, picture this. You're holding your iPhone, maybe scrolling through social media or texting a friend. It feels like magic, right? Apple products have this way of making technology feel effortless, sleek, and honestly, kind of addictive. But here's the thing. Behind that glossy screen and the cool "it just works" branding, Apple's got some serious skeletons in its closet. I'm talking lawsuits, scandals, secret iPhone slowdowns, privacy nightmares, and, oh yeah, some very questionable labor practices. So, let's peel back the layers and talk about what Apple doesn't want you to know. 1. Is Apple playing dirty? The monopoly debate. Alright, first up, the monopoly drama. Apple is basically the gatekeeper of every app on your iPhone. If you want to sell an app on the App Store, Apple takes a 30% cut and forces you to play by their rules. Now, some companies, like Spotify and Epic Games, are not cool with that. Ever wonder why you can't subscribe to Spotify Premium directly in the app? That's because Apple doesn't let them tell you about cheaper options outside the App Store. The EU slapped Apple with a $1.95 billion fine for this stunt. And in the US? The government is building a case that could change the App Store forever. And then there's Epic Games. You remember when Fortnite just disappeared from the App Store? That's because Epic tried to dodge Apple's cut by letting players buy in-game items directly. Apple wasn't having it, and boom, Fortnite got banned. Epic sued, and the legal battle has been raging ever since. 2. Privacy. How safe is your data? Do you know how Apple is always bragging about protecting your privacy? Well, let's talk about that. If you live in China, your iCloud data is actually stored on government-owned servers. Apple says they hold the encryption keys, but privacy advocates, not convinced. And remember when Apple announced it was going to scan your photos for illegal content? The idea was to catch child exploitation material, but privacy experts said, hold up, this could open the door to mass surveillance. After massive backlash, Apple scrapped the plan. So, is Apple really the privacy-first company it claims to be? Or are they just better at marketing than the others? 3. The iPhone slowdown scandal. Yes, they really did that. Okay, tell me if this sounds familiar. You're using your iPhone, it's been a couple of years, and suddenly, it starts feeling sluggish. Apps take longer to open, the battery drains faster, and it just doesn't feel as smooth. Well, it wasn't your imagination. In 2017, Apple admitted that they were deliberately slowing down older iPhones. Their excuse? We were trying to protect battery life. But let's be real, this made people think their phone was dying, so they'd rush out and buy a new one. And guess what? Apple ended up paying $500 million in lawsuits for this little stunt. 4. The repair trap. Why fixing your iPhone is a nightmare. Ever cracked your iPhone screen and thought, no big deal, I'll just get it fixed? Well, Apple's been making that really difficult. They've spent years fighting against right to repair, meaning they don't want you to fix your own device, or even let an independent shop do it. They use special proprietary parts that only work with Apple's own software, and even when they finally launched a self-service repair program, it's so complicated that most people just give up and go to the Apple Store. Oh, and if you replace your own battery, Apple might disable certain features on your phone just because you dared to fix it yourself. 5. The factories behind your iPhone. This one's tough. Apple doesn't actually make iPhones, they outsource production to factories in China, India, and Vietnam. And the conditions in some of these places? Brutal. Workers have reported 12-plus-hour shifts, low wages, and even suicide nets outside factories to prevent desperate workers from jumping. In 2022, a riot broke out at Foxconn's iPhone plant in China after workers protested unpaid wages. And it's not just factory workers. Apple Store employees in the US and UK have been fighting to unionize for better pay. But Apple? They've been accused of using anti-union tactics like firing workers, cutting benefits, and even shutting down stores where union activity is growing. So, will Apple ever change? Look, Apple makes amazing products. Their ecosystem is so good, it's almost impossible to leave once you're in. But at what cost? Between lawsuits, privacy concerns, and labor issues, Apple is facing more pressure than ever. Will they actually change? Or will they just keep playing damage control while selling us the next iPhone? What do you think? Is Apple getting away with too much? Or do you think they'll be forced to change? Let me know in the comments. And if you love tech deep dives like this, hit that like button and subscribe, we've got a lot more to uncover. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.